Did you just get married and are experiencing pain with sex? Oof, I'm so sorry, friend. That was me too. Hi, I'm Jess. I'm a trauma-informed pelvic floor occupational therapist and a vaginismus recovery coach, and I help women from around the world be able to get past painful and impossible sex to enjoy intimacy the way God designed it to be. I do this because this was my story. I found out sex was not how I thought it was going to be on my wedding night. It was painful and pretty much impossible, and it persisted to be that way for 8 years. Learned a lot of things that didn't work, and then I learned a lot of things that did work, because now I have been healed of vaginismus for 6 years, and yeah, I get to help other women get past this now too. But if you just got married, I want to talk about a couple tips that we can do to help you in this journey so that it doesn't persist in pain. Now, we have a free guide on our website called 6 Tips for Navigating Pain with Sex as a Newlywed. So if that's you, go to our website, painfreeintimacy.com. Under our guide section, you'll find a bunch of free guides there. Download the one for newlyweds and you can get the whole guide about all these tips. But here are a couple other tips that can help with this. The first tip is pause and communicate. This is important. A lot of us just think sex should come naturally, right? Like it's just biology. We feel good, we get desire, we have arousal, and we go for it. And kinda. There is biology to it, but there's a lot more that goes into this. And sex is probably one of the biggest things that a lot of couples just argue-ish about, but don't really talk about. So how do you argue about something you don't talk about? Well, you get upset, you feel shame, you don't talk about it, you just kind of stuff it, you feel resentment, and it just kind of builds from there, and then it seeps into other things. So I would say early on in your marriage, set the foundation for talking about sex. Talk about it with intentionality and a professionalism, but also just a compassion and a vulnerability. It's really important. Go ahead and say the right terms. Say vulva, vagina, penis, scrotum. Say the things you need to say so that you feel comfortable talking about these things. For me, it was really hard to talk about sex and intimacy. I was really good at talking about the clinical side of genitals. I could talk all up and down about biology because that was my background, as being in healthcare. But talking about sex and intimacy in terms of togetherness and arousal and desire, I was not comfortable with. So we had to practice. We had to learn to talk about this better. And this matters because if you're experiencing pain, you need to have that foundation to be able to talk about the pain without it spiraling or derailing you. So talk about sex. Talk about what felt good, what didn't feel good. What position do you like? What position do you hate? What position are you afraid of? How do you feel about your body? Are there any shames? Is there any resistance that you're feeling emotionally or physically? What do you love that he does? What do you not love that he does? What are you willing to try? What are you not willing to try? And then if that feels too easy, go ahead and while you're naked next time, learn each other's anatomy. Grab a mirror and teach him about your vulva. You might have to learn about your vulva first. But go ahead and teach him about your vulva. Point out the clitoris, point out the urethra, point out the vaginal opening. Show him what feels good. Show him when you touch here, this is actually a little too intense. Educate one another so that you have the right language, the right level of vulnerability, and the right level of safety to talk about things that lead to maybe pain. This is going to be a good foundation for things like consent, where you can say I'm not in the mood right now, my body's not ready, and you know that that's not going to spiral each other. Or you can say hey, I'm really in the mood, and if he says I'm not in the mood, you have the right ability to communicate what does that mean for each of you, and are you okay with the way that happens? So really pause and communicate and express to him what you're feeling. And again, if you are experiencing pain, you need to tell him. You need to tell him when you're in pain, and you need to ask him to stop, because you should not be experiencing pain ever when it comes time for sex. Ever. Not the first time, not after having a baby, not during your luteal phase, never, okay? So if there's pain, you say, hey honey, my body's not ready. Let's stop. Which brings us to our second point, which is don't push past the pain. So if you experience pain with sex, don't do it anymore. And the reason is because when you invite pain into the most vulnerable area of our body and our lives and our relationship, you are creating trauma or re-traumatization. Even if it's not that big T trauma kind of thing, your body doesn't know, and it's storing that pain as a trauma experience. So don't push past the pain so you don't get trauma. You're also building pathways that lead to a feedback loop that creates pain, that teaches your body to brace, expect pain, pain happens, brace, and we sit in this. And every time you experience pain, you solidify that, which makes it even harder in the future to get past this. We can still get past it. Because I know I went through 8 years of pain and pushing past it, and I shouldn't have. but we don't want that to be any more solid than it already is. So please, please, please don't push past the pain. I promise it's not going to get better. I don't care if Great Aunt Susan said that, well, it would hurt me the first month and eventually it got fine if I just push past it. So please don't push past the pain. It's a myth and it's not helpful for your body, and it's going to cause a lot more damage physically, emotionally, psychologically, and especially intimately. So please don't push past the pain. Say no. Tell them my body's not in this right now. What else can we do to connect and have pleasure? And the third thing I'd say is really understand desire and arousal and how that works for you. So much of newlywed sex has been pitched to us as just have penetrative sex, and that's not always the best sex for a woman if it's not done with finesse. And so understand what that finesse looks like for you if penetrative sex is your goal. But either way, like, make sex so fun and enjoyable and so desirable. For women to have great sex, it's usually not fast. And it's usually like slow and built up, and there's like, you know, a slow release of hormones as like this moment comes. It's not a spontaneous, like, let's get it done and go, he's ready, come in. It usually is a lot slower than that. So figure out what you can do to build desire better, to get natural lubrication on board, to get your vaginal canal to lengthen the way it needs to with arousal, and explore what sex can look like for you guys that's slow in quality instead of fast in quantity. It's going to make a huge difference in your experience in the bedroom, because if you want to continue to have great sexual desire and libido, slow and quality is going to continue to reinforce that, whereas fast and quantity is going to tank that, because your body can't keep up with that, and that pressure and obligation is going to derail it. So please figure out your arousal and desire. Both of you together is going to make it more special, because you are a team in this, and he needs to learn your body and desire as well. And learn his body and desire. It's different than yours. It's a little bit more obvious and in our face, but it is different. So what makes him feel good? Both of you together are a team coming together in this. So we have many more tips on our guide and on our social medias and stuff. So please go to our website and download this guide so you can get all of the tips and the strategies and stuff. If you're a newlywed, for being able to make sure that the first few months and year of your marriage is like foundationally amazing for sex and not stained with pain. And then if you're just like, I don't know what to do, I'm at a loss, I would love to chat more. Schedule a free consultation on our website while you're there getting the guide, and we can talk more about your story, what you've been through, what's worked, and what we can do to support you so that we can enjoy sex without all this drama, and it doesn't have to take you 8 years to heal like it did me. So I would look forward to working with you, and it'd be such a joy to get to chat with you more about this.